Okay, guys, Charlie's back. These are what I would call, they're fully ported at this point, but they're not fully detailed. I mean, if you take a look inside this bowl, you can see around the guide it's taken out a little bit more than the bowl. See how the bowl bulges out a little bit more? I got to do a little bit there. It's not, let's see how the autofocus does. The bottom where the guide meets the roof of the port is not perfect. If you take a look at the valve job, it's got a good roughed in valve job. Is it perfect in every way like my wife? No. If you take a look at how I did the short side radius into the valve job, it goes right to the 45. That's a DV trick. We're going to see if it works well on these. Okay. You can see how I did the floor. I really didn't do that much work on the short side radius. Yeah, I brought it out a touch towards the center of the cylinder. All right. I really didn't change the short side radius much because these Regates guys, Regatta, whatever, I think it's a French-Canadian place. They do hydroplanes. They did some work on the short side radius. So that did not have a stock curve in it. That's one of the reasons it flowed so well. I didn't have a decent gasket in stock, either a 1204, all I've got is a 1206. I don't think these need to go to a 1206. So I'm going to hold off doing this. I did open up the pinch a little bit. It's almost exactly an inch right now. We're going to see what kind of air speeds we get on that. The bowl is basically cleaned up. This hasn't had any development work done to it. This is the point where I've taken out off all the casting lines and made it look half decent. And then I'll put it on the bench and see what we got as far as flow and some air speeds. And we'll move on to development from that point if it needs some. It may not even need some. It may be, oh, what? I think we already did flows ported. It was like 255. Okay, this is the other head. These may be a little bit better. These have more detailed chamber work. Okay, you can see the chamber. Nothing radical. I took some metal off around the plug boss. That's Terry Grover, his influence. You don't know who he is. Grover Boy Racing, he has a YouTube channel. He runs unbelievably fast with backyard type stuff. He's an old timer like me. And I like his style. He takes Ford heads and he goes crazy on them, and he runs unbelievably fast. Check him out. You can see valve job. Oh, you can see my radius valve job. Maybe a little bit better than that video I did not too long ago about it. Bring it right to the seat. Now these, I'll have to measure our throats and get that back to you when we do the flows. Okay, the exhaust, you can see it's not totally finessed. It needs a little bit of work at the Guide Boss base. Okay, haven't widened it. I rounded the outside a little bit. I can't stand the square opening, so I rounded a little bit. I really don't touch the floor much. Alright, I think I got the autofocus working better now. Alright, set up on the bench. I'm not going to waste you guys' time as I run through the lifts, but I'll bring you right back when I get them all. Okay, guys. This is the flow sheet I just did. It's ported. It's got a 202 with a small back cut on it, right? And we can compare it against the ported 194. I have junk in the way just so you don't have to look at all the other numbers and mix it up. Let's take a look at 250. 170 versus 171.5. Not great. All right. At 0.3, The 194 is better. 3.5. 194 is better. 4.0. The 202 starts making a little bit of gain. A little bit of gain at 500. Okay, a little bit of gain, a little bit of gain, a little bit of gain. Okay, as far as the low lifts, almost identical. Okay. All right, let's compare the ported 1.6 exhaust to the ported 1.5. Neither one of them had a back cut. Okay, 31, 31. All right, the 1.6 had a little bit of a kick there. Definitely better there. 130 versus 98. Nice going up. 154 versus 119. Huge gain. Huge gain. Huge gain. Just dominates all the way up. The bigger exhaust valve really works with the radius seat. Okay. It gets 219.2 with the small pipe, 248.2 with the big pipe, which is outstanding. Really more than I was expecting. And even with the smaller pipe, the smaller pipe on, I should state that was at 0.8 inches. And here I did it at 0.6 inches. I got 210, 227. Even, just a mild porting on this exhaust port really works well. It has a very high short side radius. I should draw that out for you guys when I get a chance. Okay, I want to do some air speeds, where it is, and then I want to do a demo on something that's really cheap for pretty much anyone to do. We're going to change the texture on the short side radius from my old Burr small golf ball texture. See if you guys can see that. Where's my autofocus on this thing? All right. Not very bright. Okay. You can see the texture I put on it, I hope. But you can see how tall that short side radius is on this exhaust. It's high. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, guys, this is an old school hot rod mod. Some sand cloth, kind you would sand copper tubing with. Cut it maybe a little between 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch strip. Right in your short side radius. Don't be shy with it either. We're going to measure exactly what it was with the rough. My rough is still very smooth. That smooth golf ball finish, but that's done with a Burr. Now, what I like about this is it's almost constant radius. Constant radius. It'll certainly show you if there's any dips or anything in that short side radius. You'll be able to see it as soon as you go over it with the sand cloth. I actually like to go right into the corners with my finger. This is a killer because your finger isn't used to doing this. But yeah, I make almost like a U at the bottom of the port. That's all polished. All right, Charlie, why would you waste your time doing this? It's not going to do anything. Well, maybe. I personally think, since that's the fastest part of the port right there, what happens to our freaking brain dead? Our boundary layer. Don't get old, guys. It's no fun getting old. Can't think. Our boundary layer gets thinner as the airspeed increases, okay? In reality, how fast is the air actually moving that's touching the port? It's not, guys. It's not. It's not moving. Right? There's always a small layer of air that is not moving on the port surface. Does texture make that big a deal? Well, as soon as you put a texture on it, those peaks and valleys go through that tiny layer of air that's not moving, right? And guess what? Air rolls over air easier than air rolls over cast iron or aluminum. So it does make a difference, and we're going to show it on the flow bench in a few seconds. I think I'm going to flip this over. This is going to, you know what? It's going to be hard for me to do and show you guys at the same time. So let me do it at this angle. I don't have to be comfortable. Now, the way the Gates guys did it is they definitely laid this short side back, but it's still very, very tall. It's very tall. Matter of fact, I should measure it for you guys because I'm sure it's over an inch. I don't know if I can fit these monsters in there. No, can't fit these big ones. Okay, dug up a pair of my dad's old calipers. Let's see what we got. Can't see anything. We're almost exactly an inch. Almost exactly an inch tall. So that's a tall short side radius. In fact, it's probably taller than it should be. But we can modify that later if we really, really want to. As of right this second, I did CC these intakes. I CC'd them. I checked. Here, we're 179.5 cc's on the intake. The throat is 1.845 inches on the intake. 1.31 on the exhaust. So we could figure that out. We got 90% on the intake and only an 82 on the exhaust. I like a tighter throat ratio. That's really tight, but it looks like that exhaust is really, really working. If I can get a port to work with a tighter throat ratio, I would rather have the tighter throat ratio. Why? Well, it changes the pressure and the pressure recovery coming through the valve at that point. I don't know if I can explain that easily. Study up on your Bernoulli's equation for Venturi's. In fact, Chad Spire posted a YouTube recently about he does modified sportsman. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's a casting. In fact, I think he does it. It may not. The one that he posted may not be this casting, but I know he actually uses this casting for some super stock stuff. And he'll fill the bottom of the port quite a bit, and he'll round the top. Why would he round it? Well, what shape should your port be? If, in a perfect world, what shape would your port be? I'm going to say round. Why? Why would it be round, Charlie? Well, it's got the best surface to volume ratio, doesn't it? Right? Circle is going to have the least surface to volume area that's causing drag on our airflow. So that's why super stock guys like rounded. I like rounded. I can't stand rectangular ports or squared. The squared exhaust on this, can't stand them. I don't like them. I don't believe air enjoys flowing around through a square opening. If you notice, I don't know if you guys probably can't see those Ford heads, but I put a good size radius on those corners. I'm not even sure you guys can see what I'm doing right now. Oh, you can. Good. Okay. All right, you get the idea? I'm going to put these back on the bench, and we can compare the numbers. I'm so out of my mind. I didn't even finish my Chad Spire story. So he posts the YouTube on those heads, and because they're only 170 cc's, and he's getting like 280 CFM out of them. So the airspeed through the tightest part of the pinch is very high. Okay, so what does Brunelli say? As your airspeed increases, what happens to your pressure? Well, your pressure goes down. Okay, so between your valve and your manifold face, right, we're pulling 28 inches of vacuum. Now, in the center there, where that airspeed is extra high, right, the pressure is extra low there. It doesn't see 28 inches anymore. It sees more than 28 inches. So it actually can exceed the 146 CFM per square inch of flow you can get out in theory. And it was funny because some big name guys just are like, that's impossible. As soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what was happening. He had that airspeed going through that port so fast it dropped the pressure. Yes, did I learn that in DV's class? You betcha I did, because I learned a ton of stuff in his class. That's why I kept going back. He would keep having me, and I kept coming. Okay, guys, thanks. Okay, let's see if you can see. Can you see that? It doesn't look that much different when I polish it, because there's still going to be a little bit of my texture there. Okay. Okay, guys. I did the flows with the polished short side radius versus the fine golf ball finish. Take a look as we go down. Oh, even. Holy moly. Goes from 260 to 269. 269 with 180 cc port. I'm pretty sure that's hanging right with an AFR CNC, by the way. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Take a look at the exhaust. Okay, as you're going down. Pretty much the same. And I think the reason for that is this exhaust works really well the way it is. So that little bit of polishing didn't really make a difference. Now let's take a look at some of our air speeds, okay? Unpolished, polished. Push rod pinch. Did it use the push rod pinch more efficiently after it was polished? It went from 325 to 340. The middle dropped a little bit. Top is about the same. I'd say a touch more efficiently through the pinch. Okay. Our roof. Unpolished, polished. That dropped a huge amount. Take a look at the speeds. Why do you think the air speeds changed radically? Because we're getting a lot more air across the short side radius. But Charlie, that may not be good. Take a look at our speeds across the short side radius. This is unpolished, polished. We went up considerably. Center of cylinder. We actually went down in the center. It was super fast in the center. And it definitely got a little bit calmed down in the center. That's good. And it brought up the speed here. These are a little bit more even than these. Even is good, guys. Okay? Short side radius is tough. We need to use every bit of that area as efficiently as we can. So, I think right here is why we were able to add those couple CFM. 9 CFM for polishing a short side radius. I'd say if I'm a garage guy and looking for a couple extra CFM, it's worth 10-15 minutes of port. Give it a little hit. All right, how do we do on our exhaust feet per second, right? This is going to be golf ball polished, golf ball polished, golf ball polished, okay? A touch more even on the left side of the port. A touch more even in the center of the port. And a touch more even at that side of the port. But see, that didn't really show on our flows. Now, there was, here, this is important here. See, I have that little P, and I've got the P. Okay, what's happening at that point is the flow is coming around the short side radius and going straight up to the roof, causing a disturbance. And I can hear that on the bench. What lift is that? 250. There are a lot of ports that do that. Actually, I can see it here. I have another P here. So it happened earlier without the polishing. Here it didn't happen. But this didn't sound quite as smooth at the higher lifts. It didn't sound quite as good on the bench. So that's something for me to look into, because it's a smooth flow on the bench, according to guys that really know. That's horsepower. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. All right.